Today we just got our best teaser for DLC 4 in Black Ops 6 Zombies. I know you guys are gonna love this one, so drop a like and subscribe and let's get into this.
I intend to purge you thoroughly.
And that's the teaser, and there's a lot of things, especially right at the end, that are really big, and I promise we'll get to that. But first things first, let's talk about what we actually heard, because we heard something very interesting, because we heard a voice, and what it said is he's going to purge us thoroughly. And what this voice is actually Panos. And Panos is obviously not a new character. He was on Liberty Falls. And it's kind of been interesting because the Liberty Falls story was kind of separate from the rest. And we really didn't know what Panos was doing. We don't know who he's talking to in the Dark Ether. But now we knew he was going to be in Janus Towers. But we didn't know exactly what he was going to be doing. Because based on the ending to Shattered Veil, it seemed like we were looking for the Sam AI. We were going to fight against it. Like that was a setup for it. But now with these teasers, it's more and more Panos. And it makes it seem like he's maybe the main villain of this map, which would be a weird surprise, because why exactly is he going against us when we're trying to go against the Sam AI? Like, what's really happening here? Is he working with the Sam AI this whole time or something like that? I mean, I just really don't know, and it's a very interesting thing, and I can't wait to find out more about the story to really figure out what's going on here. But from there, we actually have the teaser itself, and let's break this down, because in the very first clip, we kind of see this area, and it's really blurry, and it's hard to make out what's even going on here, but we see something shiny over there, and on my initial first look, I thought I saw Quick Revive, then I kind of doubted this, and maybe that's a pack punch, but it is a pack punch, but I just don't really know. It could be a teleport, it could be a million different things. It's just too hard to really make out, but there is definitely something going on there. But then we actually start to pan over and we see a couple things. And one thing we see is, once again, this is first person, just like all the other teasers, they're just first person. And then what I find even more interesting is that we actually see a soldier here, probably a Janus security soldier dragging a dead body, and it pans further and we see even more soldiers, or another one. And that is very, very interesting, and I'm starting to wonder what this even is, because initially I thought this was just clips of the map itself, but is this something more? Is this an intro cutscene? Because what it seems like is that this might be the body cam footage of the Janus security. And it would make sense, because on the top right of all these teasers, it said Janus security at the top right. So it makes sense that this is what it is. And if that is the case, I mean, is this an intro cutscene to this map? Is this what we're seeing? Little clips of an intro cutscene? And I want to say yes, but at the same time, we do see things in the map already. We've seen in previous teasers that there's a pack punch machine there and stuff like that. So I'm just not exactly sure what we're looking at. Maybe this is just for these teasers and separate entirely from any intro or the map itself. But either way, it's something to keep in the back of your head. But of course, another big thing to notice here is that this character actually looks at what we know is a teleporter, fast travels that we've seen on the map. Now, this isn't the first time we saw these in these teasers. We had one in yesterday's teaser where they were showing off the pack punch room. There was another one. Now, this one isn't active, so I'm kind of curious exactly what the plan is here. Are we this going to be something that's actually in-game, or is this an intro cutscene, or is this the other side of where that other fast travel takes you to? I think that's more likely what's going to be happening here. But if we do look where it is, it does look like we're at the top of the map, like at the top of a tower even potentially, because it looks pretty high up just from the skyline. I could be wrong with that, but it looks pretty high up to me. So maybe when you take that fast travel, you go from maybe those underground facilities where pack punches all the way to the top of one. It would be something that would make sense, especially if it is a long way to get around that. But next we continue to see this first person view and other soldiers that are probably Janus securities. And it looks like they're in a lot more of a panic. And we also noticed that the time has passed from what the first one we saw, because the first one was 10 a.m. and now we're at 12 p.m. So things probably didn't go great for these guys. Then we look up and we see some zombies. Now with those zombies, we see in the background Juggernog. So again, this is in game. This is like where the map is taking place. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, if it's an intro or not, or just a teaser, whatever it is, or maybe it's just a trailer. I'm not sure. But regardless, we do see Juggernog is right there, which is great. But then we even see this giant orb that initially I thought was a Sam AI, but it looks like just the Janus Tower symbol, I think. So I don't think that is the Sam AI. But then we have the big thing happen, because right from space, we see what initially looks like the Panzer, but on closer inspection, if we look into his face, this looks like none other than Klaus, the AI that was first introduced to us in the map Mauer der Toten. But it's interesting because if you guys remember the story of that, what he actually did was brought pretty much a nuclear bomb into the Dark Ether to stop the Forsaken from getting into the real world. And we thought he sacrificed himself, but there were hints that he may not have done that and may have survived. Well, he still sacrificed himself because he was in Dark Ether, but the fact is that he's kind of still alive. And it seems like that's exactly what has happened here. And this is the long rumored Mecha Klaus. And boy, is he looking tough. Now, unfortunately, unlike in Mauer, it doesn't seem like he's on our side. Instead, he seems like he is an enemy here that we're going to fight. And he actually looks really tough outside, looking like a panzer. On his shoulders, you see like some glowing things, which I have no idea what those are. That's probably going to be a fun attack to deal with, but the best thing about this is not only is this Klaus's return, maybe like evil Klaus, but more than that, this is the first time since the amalgam that we're getting a new and unique elite enemy for a map. Like, we've only had one new elite enemy all Black Ops 6, but now with DLC 4 we're getting another one, and it's Mecha Klaus. And I really hope this Mecha Klaus has all the crazy funny lines that the original Klaus did. Maybe while he's chasing you he says some ridiculous stuff that's going to be funny. But of course, it's going to be great just to have him overall in every way. Now, if we did want to talk about story sides of all of this, how exactly he got out of the Dark Ether, I mean, it could have been just Richtofen taking him out of the Dark Ether, maybe the scraps that survived the explosion, and then obviously since he was just scraps, the only way he could bring him back to life was putting him in this mecha suit. But then when he did that, maybe he became evil, because you would kind of think that he's not evil and against us, because if Richtofen built him, I mean, you'd think he'd be on our side since Richtofen's on our side, but then maybe the Sam AI overtook him. There's a lot of different ways this could be explained away. I just don't know. Maybe he's just rogue. Maybe this is just the true him finally coming out, because it seemed like he really didn't want to work for us to begin with. So maybe he's just finally free of that. There's a lot of ways to explain that, but overall, I'm actually so happy to see that we have a new elite enemy, and out of all the elite enemies, we're fighting Klaus. Once an ally, now an enemy. So this is definitely a fun one. But overall, I love this teaser. The best one so far is tease stuff in the best possible ways, and even introduce a lot of new story questions that I know a lot of us are going to be discussing up to the lead up of the map and even when the map comes out. But overall, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this teaser. You guys loving what you're seeing, hating what you're seeing? Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. But that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.